Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa, and today is Monday, September 19th, and it is 66 degrees, and it's beautiful outside. You probably can't see it very well, but the sun's rising. I'm at my park, my favorite park to walk in, and we had a storm last night, and I heard it last night, but I'm really surprised that it was this intense. That appears to be a fallen tree. And if not an entire fallen tree, then quite a bit of a tree. So my path is a little bit blocked. I'm stepping over some wood here, and yeah, it's pretty intense. Wow. Anyway, so I know that there are some city folk, and I say city folk, city maintenance men that go around the park here and about this time in the morning. So I know that, wow, look at that. Yep. Yeah. I dare say that is quite the break. So, man, that's crazy. Wow. Okay, well, anyway, so they'll be coming around and probably getting this stuff cleared out. Wow, though. But, yeah, I picked an interesting day to come out for a walk. So classy, I know. So, the last time that I recorded, and I haven't posted it yet, as of speaking on this video, which I do believe I'm going to post it before I post this one. I talked about, it was a few weeks ago, and I talked about wanting to setting a goal of working off 7 pounds. And I did not do that. Instead, I ended up gaining like 2 pounds, which I know I've said before, I'm not too worried about it because we had gone on another little mini vacation. We went to the St. Louis, Missouri Botanical Gardens for their Japanese festival. And that was, I do believe, the 3rd through the 5th, which was Labor Day weekend, I think. So, anyway, it was fun. Went with my nephew, went with my boyfriend and my sister and my nephew's girlfriend. And we had a pretty good time. They had a really good time, which made me super happy. Because my nephew and I don't have the strongest relationship anymore, and I really would like to rebuild it. I felt like personally it wasn't as good as last year, and I think part of that was because last year they had some sculptures, like they were huge metal sculptures of origami, and I'm sure that if you were to look up Missouri Botanical Gardens Japanese Festival 2021, you'd see all of those amazing like origami sculptures, especially if you look that up in the search as well. But they didn't have those this year, and last year was my first time going, so I was really like, wow, this is so cool. And I didn't realize it was special. So I didn't realize that the origami statues were special, so I was hoping to see them this year. And when I didn't, I realized that, probably just not gonna happen. So anyway, that's that. But it was fun. It just wasn't quite as much fun, and there was a lot of rain this year. Like last year there was a little bit of rain, but this year there was just a ton of rain. And the second day we got soaked sitting and watching the I wish I remembered how to say their name. I want to say it's like Osawa taiko drums. If you look up, like they said in their presentation, their performance, that if you look up St. Louis Japanese drums, you would find their group. It comes up first on the search. But anyway, it was fun. And we watched them both days that we went. The evening before was way better because they were able to, since it was the evening and it was dark out, they were able to like use the light setup, and so they were able to like change the lighting and everything with their performance, and it was super cool. But sorry, I'm a little winded walking and talking. But this last time that was the night before. There's another downed branch. The night before, the following day, we watched it in the afternoon, and we found a decent spot to watch them in the area, but unfortunately it was raining, so here we are sitting on the ground. Get a load of that sky. It's just super beautiful. Super, super beautiful out here. Sorry, I'm easily distracted, but anyway, yeah, so we got really wet while it was raining, and yeah. But it was really, really, really fun to go with them and to do at least a little bit where we were able to connect a little more, you know. Anyway, so that was cool. But yeah, again, I gained some weight. I didn't even eat that much that weekend. And walking around we walked a lot. And oh man, and I got some new shoes. I got some new walking shoes. And I chose that day, that first day of the Japanese festival, to break them in. And I knew my feet were going to hurt afterwards because, yeah, well, they sure fucking did. They hurt so bad at the end of the day that the next day I didn't really feel like walking too much, which it wasn't so bad once I got going. But if I sat down for a little while to rest and tried to get up and walk again, that was rough. There's another downed branches. So anyway, you know, actually I gotta say, I think it's pretty polite of these trees to have downed branches in the little areas where we have like an extra pathway to walk, because that's like the main road area, but we've got like this extra little driveway that people can walk or drive. So that's cool. So anyway, so again, I had aimed to work off 7 pounds that week, and instead I ended up gaining 2 pounds, I think over like a 2-week span. But I have been doing better as far as taking steps to be better, and I have some people to thank for that. I think that everybody that I've really, really talked to about how much of a slump I was in, and just being able to really express how I felt about how I've not been working out, I've not been eating right, and about how everything with Dad's situation I haven't been working on as much as I should. I've been really dragging my feet on that. And how I'm really trying to find the best balance of holding myself accountable with being compassionate with myself and giving myself some grace, because I am grieving. And yeah, so it's really nice that I've been able to tell people about my situation and how frustrated I am with myself, and how I'm trying to find that balance, how I'm trying to, yes, be kind and patient with myself, but also not let myself just completely go off the deep end. And yeah, so and that being said, part of that has been how dirty and disorganized my home has been. And that's frustrating. And you know, my parents always said a clean home is a happy home. And I think about growing up with people who, it just, thinking back to my childhood, man, like it's rough. My parents were hoarders, and my mom wanted so badly to have a clean home, but she would still get shit, and it would just accumulate. And my dad, who was a truck driver and he was out most of the time, would come home to it. And it's just, I was talking to one of my coworkers, Brenda, about this. And I'm like, you get home and you're tired from work, and then it's all there and it just seems overwhelming. So you just choose not to look at it. And that's kind of how it went. And that's how it's been for me and my sister. But I chose to go ahead and try. And everybody talks about how, everybody that's been through those situations knows how, excuse me, my asthma is showing, how simple it is to make the decision to work on something for just a few minutes, 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, or to choose one task and just get started on it. You don't have to finish it. You can just get started on it and go from there. And how much easier that is than to tackle the whole thing. And until this car passes, there we go. Because the whole thing feels overwhelming, and that's legit. But just taking a chunk of it at a time, and then even like the choice paralysis. I don't know how many other people experience that, but it's like you've got all this stuff to do, and you got to try to figure out. You're like, okay, I'll just work on a little bit of it, and then you're like, where do I even start? What do I do? And you think about like, yeah, it's just stupid. So it's not stupid. It's just the psychology of it's like you're like, okay, I'm motivated to do something. What is the something that I'm going to do? And you just look around and you're like, there's so many things that I need to do. Which one do I do? And yeah, so but anyway, I've been doing the little thing. I've been doing at home. I started within probably the last week or so, trying to do just a chunk of something. We were backed up with our dishes. We had a ton of dishes to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a sink full of dishes. And that's it. I quit after that, and that's okay. And sure enough, I did my sink full of dishes, and I stopped, and then the next day, I picked it up again, and I did the rest of them. So it wasn't overwhelming the day that I did them. And then I'm looking around the house and finding stuff that we don't need. My sister and I got rid of some stuff. I just, it's just taking stuff little by little, and everybody knows that that's the easier way to do it. And it can make you feel, I don't know if less of a person or like kind of shamed or guilty or whatever. Not, she didn't wave at me. Shame and dishonor. Not getting things done or not completing the task, and or if you've got like this huge list of things that you want to accomplish over the weekend and you only get some of it done, and then you feel bad that you didn't complete the list, when in actuality you should feel good that you got some of it done, especially when your track record of getting those things done is very, very little. Let's check out those geese doing their geese thing. So, but you see what I mean? Like, we shouldn't, and something that I'm struggling with, like yesterday I finished all these different tasks, and I was like, or I got most of it knocked out, whatever I could, and I took the evening to rest, and we watched like the first half of the mini series, The Book of Boba Fett, because we're Star Wars people. We're not crazy huge Star Wars people, but it's so nice to get into a good storyline. And we just finished watching The Mandalorian. I think it was last weekend or sometime in the middle of this last week. But anyway, so we sat down after a long day and we did that, and I was glad that I got as much as I did done, but there was a part of me that was like, I could have gotten so much more done. But then there was this other part of me that's like, totally chill, man. It's you got things done, and that's a step forward, because the last nearly year, because it is September and my brother and my dad died in November last year. So nearly a year, like roughly 10 months, you have not gotten very much done. You've kind of done the bare minimum. Just, all that. And it was even so that like I was sitting there and I decided that I'm going to do my best to get some kind of exercise in every day. So on Friday, I had volleyball that evening, and I played hard. That was the hardest that I've played in a while. And I owe that in part to my new shoes that are broken in now, since it's been a few weeks of me being in them. But so my feet weren't killing me or wrong in my shoe, that I had to keep adjusting it constantly. And I was able to play harder. And so that was Friday. And Saturday, I mean, my legs were killing me. Friday night, we went out after volleyball. We went out to eat, and my sister and I basically ordered this big meat thing at Smoky Bones, and ate some meat off that, and then saved the rest of it. So Saturday, or that evening, whenever I got up from my chair, my knees and my shins, where my shins had, especially my left one, where my shin had hit the dashboard when I was in that car wreck almost exactly a year ago. In fact, I think a couple days ago was exactly a year. They were hurting for certain. And anyway, so Saturday, got up, started getting some chores going. I got up way late. I slept in. It was wonderful. And got my chores going, and decided that while we were watching, I think we finished up watching The Mandalorian. Yeah, it was Saturday. I have these little 5-pound dumbbells, and I decided to do some arm exercises while we were watching it. That way I'm doing something. And I did the same thing yesterday. I did a bunch of chores yesterday, and did the arm exercises. So just, I know, so classy, sorry. Also, as a side note, I'm usually pretty phlegmy in the morning one way or another, but I also did a sinus rinse last night, and yeah, it's coming out. So anyway, just doing the things, and even if it's just a little bit of it at a time. So it's really hard to, sometimes it's really hard to hold yourself accountable and tell yourself, just do a little bit of this. Like I finally started working on my room over the weekend. I reorganized an area of it on Saturday, and then Sunday I took some things that needed washed, and not all of them are clothing. Some of it's like blankets and stuff that have been sitting there on my floor, and I washed those. So now I have a little bit more space on my floor, and I'm hoping that I've got like a vision in my head of what I want to get done, but it's going to take time, and I know that I'm just going to have to dedicate that time. So one of the things that I'd like to do is, unfortunately, I'm back into a 2X shirt and bigger pants, and one of the things that I want to do is get a tote storage container, and to put all of my 1X and smaller t-shirts and whatnot and pants that don't fit because they're too small into the tote, because I have a ton of clothes that don't fit, that I need to work back into. And because all of these clothes don't fit, and I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought some 2X shirts, so that I have some things that I can wear that aren't clinging to me. I'm going to take them. I'm going to put those smaller ones in a tote and put it in my closet so that the bar that they're hanging on won't be under so much stress. Like, it's been bowing for a while, but that bar's been bowing for a while. And I'm afraid at this point that like there might end up just getting so much weight on it that it's actually going to break. So I'm like, I should probably just go on ahead, take all my clothes that are too small for me at the moment, put them in a tote, save maybe 2 or 3 1X shirts that I could periodically try on as I go back down in sizes until they fit me, and then I can switch them out. That way at least they're not taking up so much space and they're not putting so much weight on that bar. I'm walking uphill a little bit. Whew. Yeah, and I'm feeling it. Another thing that I've decided I wanted to do, and I've been doing like some soul searching for the last, well, really, it's been a process, an ongoing process. And I really, really want to get back to the health and fitness level that I was at and beyond. But I was talking to my boyfriend the other day, and I told him, I'm like, and I was talking to my sister as well, and I told them both, I'm like, I want to look good, but I really, really want to feel better. Like, I really want to feel healthy again. And I was thinking back to the way I was about 2 years ago, like the fitness level that I was at. Even a year and a half ago, like I was just way more fit, and I've just gradually let that slide, and I'm almost back to where I was. So that last time that I weighed myself, which was when I did that video, I had gained 2 pounds. Or no, it was a couple weeks after that video, I'd gained 2 pounds. So I was back up to like, I think it was like 277. And I'm like, man, I'm like less than 5 pounds away from where I was when I got serious about my health. Which is basically about a 70-pound gain back. And that fucking sucks. So there's that. But I'm thinking, even though I would love to look better, like I really miss being able to pick something up off the floor, squat, or bend over and it not be difficult, or, walk this route, which again, I'm phlegmy and I cough all the time anyway, because of asthma and phlegm, morning phlegm. But it would be nice to be able to walk it without so much trouble, to not have so much pain, to play better when I'm playing volleyball, and which this last time wasn't too bad. Like, I had some really good sets, and then I had some really bad ones, but but everybody played so hard this last time. It was so good. Everybody did a great job. It was probably the best teamwork I've ever seen our group of volleyball players play. Like, it was so good. Everybody worked hard, and everybody played well. So anyway, but that's another one. I want to perform better. I want to have more energy at my job, and I work at a daycare. I'm the secretary, but I still go visit the classroom sometime. And if I play around with the kids a little bit when I visit, I don't want to feel out of breath or whatever. I want to get back to where I'm walking up the stairs and the stairs don't destroy me. You know, it's like we have like at most 2 sets of stairs that I might have to climb up and climb down to get to a classroom. And I want to be able to go up and down those stairs without getting out of breath again. I mean, that's where I was. And that's what I want to do again. There's just like a long list of things that I want to be back at. Fitness levels that I want to be back at. I'd like to be stronger. You know, I'd like to be more limber and all this other, and less susceptible to being sick. And that's another thing too. I had a cold and blew my mind. I actually got over this cold without having to go to the doctor to get antibiotics. I was blown away. Whew. And it lasted maybe 3 weeks total. And that's huge for me, because nearly every time I get sick and I have a cold, I've got to go to the doctor and get antibiotics. And the only times that I've not had to were when I was exercising consistently and eating right. So my body was way more healthy and obviously set up to fight infection. But when I'm not on the times of my life when I'm not living healthy, I'm not exercising, and I'm not eating right, it takes me forever to get rid of any kind of sickness. I always end up having to go to the doctor whenever I'm not working out and everything, when I'm not eating right, when I'm not living a healthy lifestyle. So this last time that I was able to get over it in about 3 weeks, I've still got a little bit of chest congestion left that I can't quite shake, but I mean, it's not nearly as bad as it usually is. And the fact that I didn't have to go to the doctor, I don't have health insurance, so it costs more money to go to the doctor and get medication. And I'm thankful that I actually have the money to do that. But it's still a pain in the ass knowing that you're throwing out a few $100 to just to get over a damn cold. That just sucks so bad. But so I'm super, super thankful that this last time I didn't have to do that. And God, it is so beautiful out here. Just check all this out. And this is why I love coming here. It is just beautiful. And I've really needed this. So, yeah. So I'm just kind of rambling on. I'm sure there were some points that I wanted to make in my video that I haven't made, like one of which was I've been listening to my motivational stuff pretty consistently, and one of the ones that I listened to was a motivational compilation about self-care, and it was really, really good. And I can't remember if it was in that one or if it was in a different one, a different compilation. But one of the things that they talked about was how progress so classy. Progress might not show in numbers of a sort. Like, you might not actually be seeing progress, but you need to recognize that keeping on is a sort of progress in and of itself. Like when you're not seeing the results that, hey, there goes a little crane, I think. But when you're not seeing the results that you're working towards, but you keep working towards them, when you keep fighting, when you keep at it, that in and of itself is progress. And I wish I could word it the way that they did, because it was way more eloquent. But that's basically the gist of it. And I needed to hear that. Just not giving up. And you know, this is yet another day one, in a sense. I mean, if you want to count volleyball on Friday, that was the day that I worked out. And then the fact that I did some arm exercises over the weekend, both days. And I'm walking now. And that I've decided, I need to try to at least get some vegetables in my life. Like, all those things count. I'm walking under a tree that's got some loose limbs. It's kind of scary. But all those things count. Like, even if this was another day one, like another solid day one, rather than maybe a day 4 in a series of getting back to what I'm doing and what I'm aiming to do, not completely giving up and having another day 1 again is progress. Not giving up. Again, trying to find that balance between holding yourself accountable and setting good goals and working towards them consistently, and then also having some self-compassion and giving yourself some grace. Trying to find that balance is really difficult, especially when you're not doing what you're capable of doing. You know that you could be doing better, or that you could be doing more, or like in my case, and I know there are other people out there that have the same or similar situations where you were in shape in a sense. Like, I still had fat on me, and I had a lot of excessive skin and all this that held the fat that was left over. I never got down to where I wanted to be, but I was so much more physically fit and so much more healthy from good nutrition and exercise. And then you kind of let yourself go for a little while, regardless of the reasons. When you think back to what you were able to do, you don't want to admit to yourself that you have to start small again. And that fucking sucks. And it almost makes you not even want to do it, because there's this sense of like hurt pride. And I guess this is it. I've been listening to those motivational stuff, and some of the things that they talk about have to do with like your ego and your pride. And the irony was that I felt like I didn't really have a problem with that. I'm pretty honest with myself, but now that I think about it, and yes, I am pretty honest with myself, but now that I really think about it and work it out, my ego and my pride are hurt, because I'm not able to do what I was able to do. And in order to get back to that point, I have to take small steps again, just to eventually get back to that point. And that's hard. That is a hard thing to do. That is a hard thing to admit to yourself, that yeah, you acknowledge that you're not able to lift as much as you used to lift, or in my case, I'm not in a position physically that I can run, but it's something that I have to work back towards. And admitting that to myself fucking sucks. It makes me feel like I gotta move this big old branch out of the road. It makes me feel like starting small is almost a form, like starting small and having to work my way back up to it, and doing that almost feels like a form of defeat. And it's not a defeat. It's just where I'm at right now in my life journey and my fitness journey and all that, my health journey. Super unfortunate that my process has let me go down this path, back down to being not fit anymore, but also, it's a really humbling experience when you really get down to it. And I'm thankful for that, because I need those. I need those humbling experiences to grow. But anyway, that being said, particularly about not being able to run the way I used to. Last year, in 2021, I ran for St. Jude, and I did the most that I'd ever done. I ended up doing, I think it was 11 and a half miles total. It's either 11 and a half or 10 and a half miles total. But my goal was 10 miles. And I did that in a day, and I was so sore afterwards, but I did it. Gosh, it's crazy to think that I actually did that last year and how far out of shape I've fallen. But anyway, I decided sometime this weekend, I've decided that, and after a lot of thinking and soul searching for a long time, you know, well beyond this weekend, I decided that I'm going to get back into running because I missed how good I felt. And I didn't usually get that runner's high that they talk about. I just felt really good about myself after completing a run, just because every time, every day, I protested with myself about even doing it, but I'd do it, and then I'd feel good that I mentally conquered myself yet again. So, you know, I conquered those feelings of not wanting to. And that's what I miss. I miss overcoming laziness. I miss overcoming those feelings. So that's my plan. So by the end of this month, I want to get back to running. I don't expect myself to run the full 1.5-mile course that I like to walk. Like, I just finished this 1.5-mile walk at my favorite park, and I don't expect myself to be able to even do half of it or a quarter of it, but I do expect myself to start running by the end of this month. And by that, it could be just like I started before, because that was how I did it before. I started by going from, you know, this tree to that light pole. And, you know, this boulder to that stop sign or whatever, you know, like that was how I started when I started running a few years ago. That was how I got started. And so that's what I'm planning on doing again. And I want to at least be doing that much by the end of this month. Again, today's September 19th, 2022. So the end of the month is going to be the 30th, if I'm not mistaken, if I've got that right in my head. So I've got essentially 11 days to begin to run again. And that's my goal. So that being said, I'm going to get going so I can go home and get ready for work. I just completed that walk in about 38 minutes, you know, maybe give or take some time. But I'm feeling good that I did it. I actually did it. I walked my 1.5 miles today, and I got up out of bed before 7 o'clock. I wanted to get up at 6, or at least in between 6 and 6:15, because I set 3 alarms. I set one across my room on my little clock, and that was for like 6:07 or 6:08, because it's like 8 minutes ahead, and so I set it for like 6:15, so it's actually like 6:07ish. And I had set my phone alarm for 6 and 6:15. Then when I woke up, I had reset it for 6:30, and then I got up at like 6:18. So I'm really, really glad that I went ahead and got up, because I feel like getting up out of bed is the hardest part of it. And then after that, it's just mostly getting out of bed. Like, once I'm out of bed, if I'm out of bed on time, then I can go through the motions, and I might be a little late getting out here to walk, but, you know, I do it. God, that is bright as hell. It's a wonderful, beautiful day today, but dang. But anyway, my point that I'm making again is that, like, if I can get out of bed on time, within that range, within that 10 to 15 minute range of my first alarm going off, then everything else will fall into place. And again, you know, I'll say it. I know that I've already gone on for quite a while. I'll say it again that, I have to start small again, just like I did when I first got serious about my health, you know, which, and in truth, it makes a lot of sense, because not only have I fallen out of my fitness routine so far that I do have to, like, physically, I just have to start small, but I'm also, the number on the scale is nearly what it was when I first started, because unfortunately I've let myself go that far. So my baby steps again. And again, that's one of those choice paralysis things that I was talking about with all the things that I have to do at home, because there's a ton of stuff that I've got to get done at home, like, and clean, that, knowing that you've got all these things to do, or you've got all these choices to make as far as what to work on, it can be overwhelming and make you, like, stop and freeze and not get anything done because you're trying to decide what you're going to do. But also, sorry, my radio is making that, like, noise, the emergency sound noise. But anyway, the other thing is that I, like, this morning, and even last night when I was thinking about getting up in the morning, I had a little bit of choice paralysis in regard to what I was going to do. When I just, like, I'm going to work out this morning, like, I'm going to do it, but what am I going to do? Am I going to go to the gym? And then if I get to the gym, am I going to walk for 20 minutes and then do some weightlifting? Or am I just going to jump right into weightlifting? Or should I go back to the aerobics room if it's free and do the old stuff that I used to do? Like, I used to do stretching warm-ups, and I used to do crunches, and I did squats, and I did floor push-ups on my knees, because I wasn't quite at actual full push-up range, which I'd have to do it against the wall again at this point, because I'm that weak again. And I have to watch my elbow. My right elbow sometimes warns me that it's gonna pop bad, so I'm a little concerned that I'm gonna throw out my elbow, because I fucked it up once whenever I was trying to do some push-ups. I remember it popping really hard, and it hurt for a while after that. But anyway, so there's all those options. Or maybe I should just hit the elliptical and just do that for an hour. Like, what do I do? I'm like, or I'll go for a walk in the park. I'm like, what should I even do? What do I do? And I told myself, I'm like, okay, here's the deal. If it's raining, go to the gym. It's okay that you're not at the level yet that you're going to walk or run in the rain. If it's raining, go to the gym. Do some cardio, and then do some weights, whatever you want. But if it's not raining, just go to the park and walk. And then, luckily for me, and thankfully, it was not raining, so it made my choice way easier. But so I am unfortunately a person who suffers from choice paralysis often. But anyway, so hopefully my spittle isn't catching too much as I'm talking. The sun's shining, like, directly into my mouth range, so you can see, like, every little bit, every teeny tiny little bit that flies out of my mouth. Awkward. Anyway, so that's it. Like I said, I'm probably missing some points that I wanted to talk about, but I'm okay with that. This video is 43 minutes long so far. And that I got to get going. It is 7:46 a.m. and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. And it looks like my city folk are going to be cleaning up quite a bit of fallen limbs today, because there were quite a bit on the way here, and then there were quite a bit here in the park even. Yeah, so anyway, make good choices, be your best self, and live your best life. And I will talk to you in a future video. Bye.